right now on Higher Journeys with Alexis Brooks. The two gentlemen that came into your room with a black box, was this what you deem to be men in black?
No, these were gray.
These were
These
gray
were
type
gray
things, but
things.
you have had a couple of encounters that you believe were government connected. Yes, you want to talk
Yeah,
about that?
I believe they were humans. Um, I can tell you what I saw. Uh, I don't know exactly who they were connected with, but they were people. At least I think they were. They looked like
Give us
humans.
a little snapshot of what happened on one occasion, if you would.
Oh, I was this one guy had been chasing me for months, and I finally gave in. Uh, and we dated and talked, and I agreed to go to his cabin he had down southern part of the state for a weekend. I was a grown woman, you know. My mom watched my kids for me while I was going to go, and we got to the driveway of his house. We pulled up, and I thought I saw somebody like goofing around in his shrubs or bushes around the cabin. And I remember getting out of the car and saying, "Hey, I think there's somebody out here." And I know he looked over the car at me, and his face looked shocked. And then the next thing I remember, I can't see. I feel like I'm being drugged, and I feel like I'm being driven somewhere. Then I feel like I'm on a giant elevator going down and down. You know that feeling of dropping when you're on an
Mm-hmm.
elevator a
Mm-hmm.
long way. And when whatever was covering my head is removed, I see a long hallway with lots of tile and glass and chrome. I see glass with wire in it. I see a slot that the guy puts a card in, and the doors kind of swing open extra big. And you got this was a long time before the key slots at your hotel.
Mm-hmm.
This was a long before that. Um, and then being in this room, and then I realized that I was conscious, but I couldn't fight. I don't know what, I was like zombified. And they cut my hair, they took my nails, they scraped my skin, they just took stuff they just went all over me. And I noticed there were other tables. I realized I was in a huge room that was separated by glass walls with other tables. I didn't see any other people. I was the only one, but there were a bunch of them. And then it was a giant room. And at one point, this man, and I will never forget his voice, it was deep country southern drawl. And he was an older man. God, he's probably 100 years old now, because he looked like he was, you know, I was a kid basically. And he had all white hair. His face was kind of ruddy reddish, and his nose kind of reminded me of W.C. Fields, kind of bulbish-ish, you know. I remember studying his face, you know. And he says to me, "Oh, looky here, you got a little bug in your ear. I'm going to take it out, and you're going to feel a lot better." And he pokes me in the ear, same ear that I got jabbed in, and the same one that bugs me all the time. And he pulls this thing out and he shows it to me. It's like on the end of I think I said it looked like it was on the end of a roach clip, like a long pair of pliers with this little pinch thing on it, you know. He said, "Look at that." And at first it looked like a mosquito or something, you know, with legs. And then the legs kind of went away, and it was just this teeny weeny little ball. And he said something to me, and then he said, "You'll feel a lot better now." And I said, he said, "I don't even know why I'm bothering to tell you any of this, because you're not going to remember none of it." And he kind of laughed. And I said, "I am. I will remember it. I will never forget this." And the next thing I know, he was like, "Okay, knock her out." The next thing I know, I'm waking up and I'm in my this guy's living room on
Wow.
the couch. And I look up over the couch and I see a bunch of red lights. And at first I don't know I'm disoriented. Then I think, oh, he was an EMT, you know, wherever it was he lived, on his, like a
The
volunteer.
person
So
that you were spending the weekend with.
yes.
Right.
So I thought, oh, that's his scanner. That's his police scanner. But he gets up, He fixes coffee. He doesn't speak to me. He acts like he is completely freaked out. And the date is over. He took me home. He's like, come on, I got to take you home. We have to leave. I'm like, okay, why? You know, and he's like, no, something's come up and I got to go. So you're going to have to go home. He drove me all the way back home. It was like an hour or so ride, maybe a little longer than that. Dead silent. The most awkward ride I've ever been on. And I told my friends, if he could have just slowed down and shoved me out the door as he drove past my parents' home, I think he would have. That's how much he couldn't wait to get rid of me. And I felt like hell. I felt like I'd been hit by a train. I felt horrible. My head hurt. Everything. I felt like I had the worst hangover on the planet. I felt miserable. And I fell asleep. I took a nap and I realized I started remembering all this stuff, this weird stuff. And the more awake I was, the more I remembered.